الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. من بعد، روى الإمام مسلم في صحيحه عن ثوبان رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إن الله زوى لي الأرض فرأيت مشارقها ومغاربها، وإن أمتي سيبلغ ملكها ما زوي لي منها، وأعطيت الكنزين الأحمر والأبيض، وإني سألت ربي لأمتي ألا يهلكها بسنة بعامة، وألا يسلط عليهم عدوا من سوى أنفسهم فيستبيح بيضتهم. وإن ربي قال: يا محمد إذا قضيت قضاء فإنه لا يرد، وإني أعطيتك لأمتك ألا أهلكهم بسنة بعامة، وألا أسلط عليهم عدوا من سوى أنفسهم فيستبيح بيضتهم، ولو اجتمع عليهم من بأقطارها حتى يكون بعضهم يهلك بعضا ويسبي بعضهم بعضا. ورواية أبو داود بن ماجه: وإنما أخاف على أمتي الأئمة المضلين، وإذا وقع عليهم السيف لم يرفع إلى يوم القيامة، ولا تقوم الساعة حتى يلحق حي من أمتي بالمشركين، وحتى تعبد فئام من أمتي الأوثان، وإنه سيكون في أمتي كذابون 30 كلهم يزعم أنه نبي، وأنا خاتم النبيين لا نبي بعدي، ولا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق منصورة، لا يضرهم من خذلهم حتى يأتي أمر الله تبارك وتعالى. We started this narration, this hadith, last week, and we said this is of the prophecies of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and it's a miracle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had the entire earth in front of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was looking at it all the way east, all the way west, and he told us the kingdom of this ummah will reach all the way east and all the way west. And yes, the Muslim empire reached all the way east to China and all the way west to Morocco and Spain. And Muslims ruled all of this land, and for centuries Muslims were dominating. Till in Europe they used to brag that this person can speak Arabic, and this person went into a school and he learned with the Muslims, with the Arabs. They used to brag about that, and it's an honor and pride that someone learned with the Muslimin. Even academy and science, they used to look forward from the Muslims to learn from them. And someone who is a non-Muslim would migrate all the way, going through deserts and taking ferries and ships to reach the rich and nourished Muslim land. That was at a time, and as Rasulullah ﷺ prophesied, this ummah will be rich and not any rich. The dominance at the time of the Messenger ﷺ was for the Persians and the Romans. And Rasulullah ﷺ prophesied that their kingship will be taken by the Muslims, their land will be taken by the Muslims and it happened. And as for Caesar, he honored the letter of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He kissed it, he put it on top of his head. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam sent the letter for Caesar, he kissed the letter and he put it on top of his head. And he said, I wish I be there. وَدَدْتُ لَوْ أَنِّي عِنْدَهُ. I wish I'm there with him. What to do? What to do? قال إيش؟ لغسلت الماء عند رجليه. يعني بغسله رجليه بالماء. See, the king of the Romans said, I wish I'm there. What he will do? He will wash the feet of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He honored the letter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He respected, even that he did not accept Islam. He knew this is from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He knew this is the time for the messenger. He knew this is the last messenger, no messenger after him. He knew who is calling for the da'wah of all of the Anbiya. The da'wah, the only surviving da'wah. You believe in that, you survive, you're not, you doomed. The Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. And what's he and all the Romans are up on is nothing but shirk. Right? He did not embrace Islam. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم باع آخرته. He sold his hereafter. He sold his hereafter for his kingship because he knew very well the Romans are going to kill him. Or at least they will kick him out. He's going to lose his empire. He's going to lose his kingship. He's no longer the emperor of the Romans. Would he accept Islam? So take the choice and accept Islam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, As-salim tas-salam. Embrace Islam, you'll be safe. Embrace Islam, you'll be safe. As-salim يؤتك الله أجرك مرتين. يعني إيمانك بعيسى وإيمانك بالإسلام بمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. You accept Islam and you will have double of the rewards. And this is for any Jew, any Christian. If they accepted Islam, the rewards are double. The rewards, that is, anything good they did in their Christianity will be saved for them. And Islam will be saved for them, so they will have double of the rewards, believing in their Nabi and believing in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he said, very important, Aslim يؤتك الله أجر الأريسيين. أسلم يؤتك الله أجر الأريسيين. Embrace Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the rewards of أريسيين. What is أريسيين? الأريسيين قالوا هذه لفظة كان يطلقها اليهود على غير اليهود، على غير بني إسرائيل، لأنهم كلهم كفار، كلهم حطب النار. They said that's a term being used by Yahud for any non-Jew, because all of them would be the fuel of the fire. Or anyone to seclude themselves from the Christian, because at the beginning Christian will claim they are from Bani Israel, and Christianity was nothing but a sect from Bani Israel. And it was a true sect because they were calling for the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal and to follow one of the Anbiya of Bani Israel, that is Isa alayhi salam. So to seclude themselves from those new believers, and if they call them infidels, and they are stronger than them and they may kill them, so they call them Arisiyin. And someone who has lots of videos in YouTube, he claimed Arisiyin, those are the muwahhidin among the Christians. Those are they are following someone called Arius, and this Arius was a muwahhid of Allah Azza wa Jal, someone who called for the oneness of Allah among the Christian. and he was among those few scholars who, in their conference where they declared the Trinity, they declared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the third of three, and declared the shirk to be the faith, the aqidah of the Christians. They said he was among those few priests and rabbis, few scholars who declared the Tawheed of Allah. He making lots of claims, unverified claims. I don't recommend people to listen to him. His name أظن جهاد الترباني أو التربالي، وعنده كلام كثير بيقوله وبيفخم الأمور بيعظمها، لكن ما في دليل على الكلام اللي بيقوله. أيا كان، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عنا أجر النصارى من دولته، لأنه عظيم الروم وسيد الروم، فإن أسلم أسلمت الروم. So the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, you are a king. Many of the Christians, many of the followers of the Romans will follow you. Many of them, even those who will not, or at least they will say, oh, what is this new religion? Why? Our king diverted to that religion? What's wrong with Christianity? So either that they embrace the deen, or they will start questioning the new deen or their own faith. But he did not accept the deen of Islam. At least he respected Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his writings, and the messenger who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent for him. And safely the messenger returned back. As for Kisra, the Persian king, he out of his arrogance, he looked at this as an insult, because from the beginning it was written like that: من محمد رسول الله إلى كسرى عظيم الفرس. From Muhammad, the messenger of Allah Azza wa Jal, to Kisra, the king of the Persian, or the great man of Persia. He said, how come he would start by himself, not me? How come he said from Muhammad? He said, you should say, mention me first. And he's calling me to his deen. That's an insult. He turned the letter and he killed the messenger of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's a declaration of war. But he doesn't care who's the Arabs to stand in front of me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, مزقه Allah. He turned it, may Allah tear him up. And Allah indeed turned him up and his kingdom. What he did, he sent for the king of Yemen, and he was one of his followers. قال له ايش؟ أرسل رجلين جليدين، اثنين من رجالك أشداء أقوياء فليأتوني بهذا الرجل، ولا جيش كمان. رسل لك اثنين يقبض على محمد يربطوه يجيبوا لي في برجيا. So send two strong men of yours, so they go and arrest Muhammad and they should bring him to Persia, to me. They came to Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم من مدينة، وشوارب طويلة بشنب، شوارب طويلة وحالقين بيقولوا. They came with very long mustache while shaving their beards. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم did not ask him, what are you doing here? He said, what is this? Who commanded you to do this? من أمركما بهذا؟ قال ربنا، يعني كسرى، يعني ملكنا سيدنا. They said, our Lord. The Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, أما وإن ربي أمرني أن أحف شاربي وأعفو لحيتي. As for me, my Lord commanded me to let go of my beard and to trim my mustache. Trim it, not shave it. Trim the mustache. Then he asked them, what you are here for? And they told him to arrest you. He said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَ مَلِكَكُمَا. Indeed, Allah killed your king. Go get out of here. وراجعوا فلما حذروا لقوا الملك في الوقت هذاك قتلوه الفرس أنفسهم، وقتلوه الفرس بمساعدة ولده نفسه ساعده ماشي. أنه يقتلوه، والولد اللي ساعدهم ده برضه كمان قتلوه بعدين. فصار كل ما يظهر ابن لكسرى ويتولى العرش يقتلوه، صار كل ما يجي ولد ويتولى العرش يقتلوه، وتقسمت المملكة وصارت قتال ما بيناتهم. Indeed, that day they killed the king of Persia, and every one of his offspring to claim the throne was killed. And they start killing one another, fighting one another, till they agreed upon a baby to be the king, and they made Rustum, the head of the army, to be in charge of everything till this baby grew up. That's another story. طيب. As for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told them, those two great kings with their wealth, all of that will come to the mu'mineen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this prophecy in many occasions. One of them, when the Ahzab literally means parties, the people of Mecca, with many of the Arab tribes surrounding Mecca, Medina, Qatafan, and Asad, and Abs, and Dibyan, people of Mecca would not make like 3,000. This army was 10,000. They marched towards Medina in the famous battlefield of Al-Ahzab, right, where Rasulullah dug the trench, and it's also famous by Ghazwat al-Khandaq, the battlefield of the trench, right? So Rasulullah, when the companions were digging, there was a rock by the middle of that trench. The trench was like 4 meters deep. So there was a huge rock in the middle of the trench. So they asked the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, عرض لهم كدية صخرة. And they asked the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to come and see. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam took the tool and he hit the rock the first time. It sparked and a white smoke came. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allahu Akbar, utitu mafatiha Kisra. He said, Allahu Akbar, Allah indeed gave me the keys for the treasures of Kisra, the Persians. And then he hit it again. It sparked again, and the white smoke came. Rasulullah saw something there, and he said, Allahu Akbar, utitu mafatiha al-Rum, al-Qaisar. He said, Allahu Akbar, I've been granted the keys for the Caesar treasures. And then he hit it the third one, it turned to sand. The rock turned to sand. فانقلبت أهيل يعني إيش؟ تراب. The companions, they couldn't break it, they couldn't move it, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with 3 hits turned to dust, right? That's a miracle, right? By himself, no help from anyone. The munafiqeen said, هذا للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قبحهم الله يقول عليه، هذا يعدنا كنز فارس والروم وأحدنا لا يستطيع أن يقضي حاجته. من شدة الخوف ما نقدر نمشي بعيد عشان أننا نقضي حاجتنا. This one promising us the treasures of the Persians and the Romans, while we are scared of those Arabs marching towards us. We cannot go far away to fulfill our needs. Getting just few steps away to fulfill our needs, to urinate, to defecate, we cannot do that. Look at this one, doubting Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and doubts and uncertainty about the Quran and the Sunnah. This is the major quality of the munafiq all over. All over. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that in the Quran. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى ولو علم الله فيهم خيرا لأسمعهم استغفر الله العظيم ولو أرادوا الخروج لأعدوا له عدة ولكن كره الله انبعاثهم فثبطهم وقيل اقعدوا مع القاعدين لو خرجوا فيكم ما زادوكم إلا خبالا ولا أوضعوا. لا الآية اللي قبلها إيش؟ الآية اللي قبلها
إنما يستأذنك الذين
الله يجزاه خير. إنما يستأذنك الذين لا يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر وارتابت قلوبهم. Those who ask you for excuse, those who do not believe in Allah in the day of judgment, and their hearts are full of doubts. Their hearts are full of doubts. This is a munafiq like that. That's why. You have any doubt, ask about it. Relieve yourself of the doubts. Do not keep it for yourself. That will increase the doubts. And you're going from a question to another question. And after a while, this person will be nothing but chunk of shubhat, chunk of doubts. That's all he knows about Islam. Right? He'll read the Quran, he doesn't understand. He read the Sunnah, he doesn't understand. So he's keeping those doubts for himself. Be aware of that. So Rasulullah ﷺ told a prophecy, it happened. And he said, we are going to rule Persia and the Romans. We did, alhamdulillah. Wealth will spread, and this is a hadith of Adi ibn Hatim, till no one will accept. That is true. That is true, and it happened. And at the time, this ummah, they would take the zakat, the sadaqat, go around. Anyone to accept. Anyone to accept. It was very tough time during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even during the time of Abu Bakr and part of the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Abbas told us about the nourishness of this ummah starting from the Khilafah of Umar. The Khilafah of Umar. Those are the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who used to starve and would one of them just find bread, blank bread with nothing with it. He is the one. He is so rich. And as Aisha radiallahu anha, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam died and he never filled his stomach from the white bread. You know what's white bread? The bread that you eat day and night now. What he would eat sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the bread made of sha'ir, of barley, because it was so cheap. But out of wheat, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never had it. And not any wheat. The white wheat they called منخول. يعني ايش؟ ينخلوه بالغربال كده ويطلع منه القشرة بتاعته ويأكلوه أبيض كده زي الخبز اللي بناكله الآن هذا. This beautiful flour. You eat bread or you eat kisra or burrasa. That's Rasulullah sallallahu never had it in his life. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Hurairah said, I used to faint out of hunger. I used to faint. He would ask the companion, do you know the tafsir of this ayah? He said, I'm not asking him to learn something new because I know the ayah. I know when it was revealed. I know what it's all about. I know everything about the ayah. But maybe he look at me so miserable, so hungry, he will say, oh, let's go home, talk about it at home. And he would invite me, right? He would go hungry for a day, still he would faint. Radiallahu tabaraka ta'ala. The same companions, Abdullah ibn Abbas said, by Allah, wallahi, لقد سمعت المنادي ينادي على عهد عمر أقدموا إلى اللحم أقدموا إلى الخبز. لأن تام في عمر الخطاب يفرش بصل يفرش صفر وبصل. دي ايش البساطة ولا السفرة ايش يسموها؟
The spread.
Sheets, yeah, for the food. What do you call that?
Table spread.
Table? There's no tables at the time. Table spread. Okay. So they spread those sheets for food. And you would call them for meat. Come and eat the meat. Come and eat the bread for free. قال عبد الله بن عباس ولقد نودي على الناس في زمن عثمان أقبلوا على السمن بالعسل. Dessert. Dessert, butter and honey. Dessert. ليه بيقول كده؟ إنه الناس بطرت نعمة ربنا. إنه عهد عثمان أكلوا وشربوا وقال لهم تعالوا كمان ليش؟ تعالوا حلوا كمان. He fed them for free. He fed them for free. He made them rich and he said, dessert is up on me. Come and eat. So the Ummah was doing very well. Rasulullah ﷺ prophesied that. Yes, after what you see, everything is going to go well. It happened. But he prophesied this. That's Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The entire Ummah of Islam will not die out of starvation, out of drought. Yes, drought may hit this area or that area. نعم قد يحصل. Drought in Sudan, drought in Somalia, drought in here and there. Yeah, it can happen for part of the Muslim Ummah. But the entire Ummah to perish out of drought, that will never happen, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. Okay? And the other thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guaranteed, and He said, this is a judgment, this is my qadr. No death for the whole Ummah with drought. And no death for the whole Ummah by an enemy coming from outside. وَاللَّهُ صَلِّطَ عَلَيْهِمْ عَدُوًا مِنْ غَيْرِهِمْ فَيَسْتَبِيحَ بَيْضَتَهُمْ أو حوزتهم يعني ملكهم. No enemy will be allowed to violate the Muslim land or the Muslim Ummah as a whole again. As a whole again, that will never happen. Yes, it can happen for some Muslims. The Yahud oppressing our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine. And yes, the Soviet before the Russians, they occupied Afghanistan. And yes, the Serbs went and mashed and killed the Bosnians. That may happen. The Kafir may take off part of the land. But the whole Muslim Ummah, that will never happen, or may happen. Or may happen. The first understanding, that part of the Ummah will be under oppression for some time, it can happen. But for the whole Ummah, an enemy to kill and oppress all of them, that will not happen. Right? The other understanding, because the hadith says, وَأَلَّا أُصَلِّتَ عَلَيْهِمْ عَدُوًّا مِّن سِوَى أَنفُسِهِمْ فَيَسْتَبِيحَ بَيْضَتَهُمْ وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعَ عَلَيْهِمْ مَنْ بِأَقْطَارِهَا. Word, the entire globe, the entire enemies, the entire kuffar, conspired against the Muslimin, they will not take over them. حتى يكون بعضهم يهلك بعضا ويسبي بعضهم بعضا. Till that they, the Muslims themselves, the one to kill one another and the one to take in captivity one another, or the one to enslave one another. And it was, and it happened. Right? This last part has two understandings. Understanding number one, the enemy from outside will not kill us, will not occupy the whole land, will not finish us. It's the first understanding. That is, العدو من الخارج ما حيسلط علينا ينتهي مننا كلنا. أو يتسلط على الأمة كلها. Right? And with that understanding, who is going to humiliate the Ummah? The Muslims themselves. And I said this before. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam fought his enemies. He won all of his battlefields except for the battlefield of Uhud. And we know what happened there. And how many companions were killed? 70 of them. How many were taken into captivity? None of them. Right? After that, the biggest number Rasulullah ﷺ has as a loss or casualties was those companions whom the Arabs betrayed them. Bi'r Ma'una, that's a well, that's a place. And the companions, the Arabs came to Rasulullah ﷺ and they said, we want to know about Islam. We newly embraced Islam, but we know nothing about Islam. Send with us some of your companions to teach us the Quran. So Rasulullah ﷺ 100 of those who memorized the Quran, Rasulullah ﷺ sent them. By the middle of the road, they betrayed the Arabs. They called the other tribes. They made a siege around those 100 and they said, surrender yourself. Why? They will take them as captives, sell them to their enemies, Quraysh and other Arabs, so they can kill them or they do whatever they want with them. So they said, come and teach us. Then they betrayed. and they said, surrender yourself. The companion, none of them surrendered. The 100 fought till they died, till the last one. All of them were killed. This is the maximum number Rasulullah lost among the companions, right? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq fought all of his battlefields, lost nothing, right? Umar ibn Khattab was fighting the Romans, the Persians. He lost one battlefield called the battlefield of Al-Jisr. Al-Jisr, this is one battlefield between the Muslims and the Persians. And that was the only battlefield the Persians won. Before it they lost, after it they lost. And sort of Umar Khattab hasted a little bit, trying to cover for his mistake. What was the mistake? He had a leader who Abu Bakr as-Siddiq told him to stay by the east side, because there was two fronts. The eastern front, the western front, fighting. Eastern were fighting Iraq, and those areas were fighting the Persians and their allies of the Arabs. The west side, they were fighting the Romans and their allies of the Arabs. And the Muslim army, the best among the scholars who would say was around maybe 18, 20,000, the best. And the least would go for only maybe 12,000. That's the whole Muslim army, right? So they were fighting two fronts at the time. Now they are about to fight the battlefield of Al-Yarmouk, where they took all of the land from the Romans, where they won it, and Caesar ran away for good, and he never returned back to Asham or to that part of the kingdom, right? So what to do? Khalid Goriz was fighting the Persians. Abu Bakr said, head straight, go there and take part of the army with you. He left who? He left Al-Musanna ibn Haritha. Musanna was crying. And he said, I'm alone, and most of those Arabs who we fought them, they betrayed, and they're running towards the Persians, and they are fighting us. And now we are by the middle of them, in front of us at the Persians, on our back at those Arabs, and we cannot trust them. So what to do? So he kept writing for Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. The last day Abu Bakr as-Siddiq passed away, the Muslims were lining up at Al-Yarmouk. Musanna himself riding the horse and went for Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. What's going on? We are going to get killed there. So do something. Umar looked at Musanna, and he told Umar, this is the first thing you do. Musanna should not go back by himself. Support him. أعطيه مدد، وهذا أول شيء تعمله في خلافتك. Umar was patient till the battlefield ended of Yarmouk, and the companions took it. Umar was afraid the Romans are going to come back. That's a big army we defeated, but they are going to come back. So he kept the army for a while. At this time, the Arab betrayed. They killed Al-Musanna ibn Haritha. Umar regret that, waiting big time, and he vowed to go by himself. ركب بنفسه قال امشي اقاتل الفرس واقتل العرب هذول. I will kill those Arabs, I will kill the Persians. So he rode by himself. All of the companions followed him, begged him, including Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. And both of them convinced Umar, you get killed, that's it. Both of those people, the Persians and the Romans, are going to gain strength from your death. They are scared of you more than they are scared of the army. So go back, please go back and send Muslims and send for the whole Muslim land. Do not pull the army from Asham, rather call the Muslims to go and help them. He did, and a man came from a Taif called Abu Ubaid al-Thaqafi. That was a brave man, but he has no idea about the war. And Umar ibn Khattab, because he was the first one to volunteer, made him the army leader. He went, he marched, and then the Persians said, either that we cross the bridge, نقطع نهر الفرات, أو تقطع علينا انت. ففي ايش، في جسر. كل الصحابه قالوا ايش؟ خلوهم هم يعدوا. قال لا لا، ارجل مننا هم، نحن نعدي. نحن نعدي. And so they said, either that you cross or we cross. If you cross, we give you the aman, you are safe till you pass the other side. If we cross, you give it the aman till we all in your land. He said, no way, we are going to march. All of the Muslims told him, no, that's a bad idea. That's a very bad idea. Let them to cross. He said, no way. We crossed for them. He did, and it was a very big loss. The loss was 4,000. Umar al-Khattab was crying for days. 4,000. This is the most loss, the most defeat the Muslims suffer fighting their enemies. 4,000. Right. Then after that, the Khilafah of Ali radiallahu anhu, there was the battlefield of Siffin between Muawiyah and Ali radiallahu anhu. Before that was the battlefield of Al-Jamal, right? Siffin, they said Muawiyah's army, the least would say were 25,000. The most would say were 40,000. And same way is like Ali. Most of the historians would say Muslims from Ali's side were more by like 10,000. So his army was around maybe 50,000. And Muawiyah's side was around 40,000. So 90,000 Muslims were fighting one another. The number of casualties at this battlefield of Siffin was between 15 to 25,000 Muslim killing his Muslim brother. Muslim killing his Muslim brother. If you took the least 15, and you look there, the most they suffered was 1/4 of it, 4. Right? ربعهم بس وأربعة أضعاف من لما المسلم قتل المسلم. That's what Rasulullah ﷺ said. Who is going to doom the Muslim Ummah? The Muslim Ummah themselves. And through the history, if you look, the most casualties we sustain not by our enemies, rather, but our own Muslim brothers, or those who claim Islam, or those who claim they are Muslims. Right? If you're fighting the kafir, you may lose some battlefield or all of them. But you are not going to lose that much among your side. But if you're fighting your Muslim brother, you got to be careful. Right? So the first understanding that is the enemy will not be allowed, from our side will not be allowed to finish us, to kill us. Rather we kill ourselves. Or the second understanding, the enemy will take over our land, will oppress us when we started that ourselves. حتى يكون يعني لما نبدأ نحن نقتل بعض ونبدأ نحن نسبي بعض، الآن إيش؟ يتسلط العدو علينا. When we kill one another, when we take in captivity one another, when we sell one another as slaves, then at this time the enemies of Allah, the kuffar, will be allowed to take over us and oppress us. Right? No. By the way, whatever you're thinking about, whatever you think today, they say that Sudan is the greatest humanitarian disaster, the worst humanitarian disaster in the world. That's true, right? And like 20 million being displaced, and this many thousands or this many millions are being killed, and this and that, right? If you look carefully, this is not the first one. This is not the worst one. Yes, what those rebels, what those thieves, what those killers did has nothing to do with Islam. Even they say Allahu Akbar. Even they say they rob the Muslims, they rape the woman, Huh? And they say after that, say Allahu Akbar. Yes. Many like those happened before. Many happened before, right? And to the extent a Muslim slaughtered another Muslim. And where he buried him? In the well of Zamzam. They filled the well of Zamzam with Hujjaj. Not anyone, those who are making Hajj to the Bayt Allah Azza wa Jal. And they are a sect called Qaramida. They are Rafida, or what you call them Shia. Right? They were in Yemen. They have huge kingdom in Yemen and in East Africa, Kenya or Zanzibar of today. Right? Those, they attacked Al-Hijaz and they took over Mecca. And the Hujjaj who were there for Hajj, they slaughtered them and they filled the well of Zamzam with their bodies. ما ردموا بزمزم بإيش؟ بجثث الحجيج. They took the black stone, they demolished Kaaba, and they took the black stone, it stayed away for 100 years. Kaaba was without black stone for 100 years. Their idea was to make another Kaaba in Yemen. To make another Kaaba, and who stopped them? The wicked brothers of what they call themselves al-Fatimiyin, وهؤلاء الملاحدة العبيديين الدعيين كانوا مدعيين نسب هم اللي وقفوهم. ليه؟ خافوا من ثورة المسلمين. And they were afraid that the Muslims would revolt, so to save themselves they said, behold, no, not now, just wait. Right? That wasn't the worst. That wasn't the worst. Ibn Kathir wrote about the Tatar when they invaded the Muslim land, and this has happened in Iraq and in Sham. They said the Tatari will come and will just go into a neighborhood and pick up any neighborhood, any houses, and you will get everyone else, one person, one Tatari, man, woman, you come outside, get outside, right? So stealing and killing, that's no longer fun. What is the fun now? He will pick up one and he will put a rock and he will tell that man, put your head down here. Put your head over the rock. And the man surrenderingly and submittingly will go place his head over the rock. Then he will ask him, who is the closest person of this person? You better answer or he is going to start chopping the heads. Someone will say me. And who is this person to you? How he is related to you? Is my brother. Okay? Take that rock and mash his head. Take the rock and mash the head of your own brother. And they did. They did. Tatar was like that. They said, when the Tatar gave a man after months of killing and slaughtering in Baghdad, then they said, we have enough. You can come outside and we forgive you. Khalas, it's okay. Those who survived and came out, they looked very pale and their skin, the color of the skin totally changed. Why? Because for all of those months, it's 3, 4, 5 or 6 of them, they were inside holes or pits. دخلوا جوا الآبار وحفروا حفر دخلوا جواها. They were living there in wells and in pits for almost a year. They didn't see the sun. Why? They're scared of those Tatars. Go fight for yourself. No way. No way. ليش ما يكاتب؟ لا كيف نموت؟ أحسن تنزل كده. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is his sunnah. And Allah said, humiliation will start when you start humiliating yourself. Humiliation will start when you start humiliating yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to warn us from killing your Muslim brother. وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُسْلِمًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ خَالِدًا فِيهَا وغضب الله عليه ولعنه وأعد له عذابا عظيما. Okay, this is a very severe threat. Whoever kills his Muslim brother, actually it's not kills, whoever will kill يقتل هذا المستقبل, because you are not allowed to do that. In the future, if you dare to do that, for you is Jahannam. Abide in forever. Huh? وَلَعَنَهُ اللَّهُ, the curse of Allah over him. And for him a severe punishment on top of all of that. قال الإمام أحمد إنهم يقولون هذا في الذي يستحل القتل. This is for someone, straight for someone who kills while believing it is lawful. قال إمام أحمد لو استحلها لكفر وإن لم يقتل. لو استحلها, if he said it's okay to kill the Muslim, he is a kafir and he deserved that threat even he did not kill anyone. Right? So this is a clear warning, right? Rasulullah ﷺ said, لزوال السماوات والأرض أهون عند الله من قتل نفس امرئ مسلم بغير حقها. For the heaven and the earth to be gone, to demolish, for Yawm al-Qiyamah to start, this is easier than killing a Muslim with no right. With no right. Right? The Messenger ﷺ looked at Kaaba and he said, you are honorable with Allah, you are so sacred and honorable by Allah Azza wa Jal. And by Allah, the blood of the Muslim is more sacred of you. The blood of a Muslim is more sacred than the Kaaba itself. It's more sacred than the Arafah, the day of Arafah, the entire Mecca. Right? What is this? Meaning imagine that someone took an axe and he started demolishing the Kaaba. In the day of Arafah, for example, or like in the day of Hajj, where those millions of Muslims are around, what they do to him? They are going to eat him alive. Nyam 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 kida yaklu. Sah? They will eat him alive. They will kill him. They will mash him. Right? Right. If he violated the Muslim, that is even worse than what he did. If he killed the Muslim, that's even worse than what he did. But who is to use his intellect for that? Right? When you start violating this laws, look at any place. Look at any place where the kuffar went in and oppressed the Muslimin. Look at any place. The first violation you will find there, shirk. The first violation you find there, shirk and disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and worshipping other than Allah. Right? Soviets, they invaded the Afghanistan 97. Before that, they were bragging that Kabul has 1,000 مش مئذنة لا قبة وضريح. Has over 1,000 ضريح Kabul. Asid. Mazar and ضريح, what is that? Where graves are introduced to places of worship, to masajid, and people are going around, right? They have this huge city by the north, what they call it? Mazar Sharif. What is Mazar Sharif? It's a tomb. Right? Tell them, it's a tomb. Right? What they do there? Pure shirk. Pure shirk. They go there, go around the graves, right? What happened? The socialists, the Shu'i, the Kafir came and killed them and mashed them. Right? In my country, it was the same thing. Even between us and what happened there over 40 years, almost 50 years, right? But did the same thing. We violated. We did not have fear of Allah Azza wa Jal because of the shirk, we did everything wrong, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent from among us who will torture us and who will send us to exile and for the run. Right? ده اللي قاله النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال في باقي الحديث هنا. I will leave this for inshallah ta'ala next week, but for the first part, I don't want you just to be audience listening. I want you to participate. To have this, if you don't have it, at least ask for a printout, and I want 3 of you at least to comment at the first part of the hadith. I don't want translation, the translation is here. But I want you to benefit from this hadith, what you benefit from it. And at least I want 3 of you. So, raise your hand. Now, Yeah, go ahead. He said, huh?
Like right now.
Not now, but inshallah next week, make some comments and bring them and tell us what you benefit from it. MashaAllah, we have one here. Hassan. Nah. Huh? Okay, who's number 3? Because if you are not doing it this week, we'll do it next week, inshallah. Who's number 3? Ahmed? Ashhad? No, Ahmed. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So we have Hassan, Adnan, and Ahmed, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, for next week, right after the salat, before we start the last part of the hadith. في question here: هل تجوز الصلاة وراء من أنكر حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أو السنة? Is it allowed to pray behind someone who denies a hadith of the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم or the sunnah of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم? Whoever denies a single hadith is not a Muslim. Whoever denounces a single sunnah is not a Muslim. Is not a Muslim. Is a Sheikh called Abu Bakr Jabir al-Jazairi. He was Algerian, but he lived his life, his entire life in Medina. And he was very famous by his book, Minhaj al-Muslim. This is, at the time, mashallah, was the book of fiqh for everyone, mashallah. And he was also famous of the tafsir of the Quran. May Allah have mercy over him. فجاءت فترة الناس كانوا يتكلموا عن النقاب ويقولوا هذا عادة. This niqab is a habit. Is a habit that's not of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So they said, how about this? She has niqab, but she will say, no, it's not a sunnah. It's just a habit. قال لهم كفرت. وكان ألجم شوية بيقول لا كفرت كفر. كلموني الشيخ الباز. كل ما يطلع فتوى ويقول كلام بيقوم بيمشي يشتكوا للشيخ الباز. قال ما يشتكوا ليش. So a sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that confirmed by authentic narration, if someone denounces that, he is not a Muslim. Because he's not denouncing the sunnah, he's denouncing rather Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. نعم. نعم.
في أتيت كنيسين أحمر أبيض والأحمر. When they say Abiyad, that is the white castle.
White means the silver.
Okay.
And Ahmar, he meant by that the gold.
Oh, okay.
So because the Virgin King was fascinated by silver, and everything in his kingdom was white or silver. Even he had the white palace. Okay, everything in his kingdom was decorated by silver. The opposite was Caesar and the Romans. They were fascinated by gold, and everything in his kingdom was decorated by gold. So Rasulullah, when he said, "I've been given the red and the white treasures," he meant by that the Romans and the Virgins treasure. Yeah.
معجزة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم that he mentioned that both they would fall. So one time you mentioned it was in the case of the rock in the Khandaq. The second one was it the Suraqa ibn Malik when he was at the time of Hijrah, running after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told him, "You will be given."
Very good.
Is that the second time he predicted the mu'jiza?
طيب. What Sheikh Abdul Rashid mentioning here, this is in the books of Sirah. Actually, I did not find this authentic in any book of hadith. So I don't know about the authentication of this. This is, you find it in Rahiq al-Makhtoum, in al-Bidayah al-Nihaya, in many books of Sirah, that Suraqa ibn Malik was a kafir at that time. When he heard that there is some people traveling by the coastal road to the north. He figured out that must be Rasulullah sallam and Abu Bakr, right? Then he fooled the kuffar because the kuffar said, well, 100 camel to capture Muhammad sallam, 100 camel to capture Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, right? So he won the 200 camels for himself. So what he did, he fooled Quraysh and said, oh, those people, I know them, don't worry about them, they are not them. So he sneaked, he took his arch and his horse, and he followed them. And before reaching Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr, up to here, the story is authentic. That is, the horse tripped, or the legs of the horse went into the sand, and he tripped and he fell. Then he took the horse again and he started riding again. He tripped for the second time. And then he said, this is very strange. There's something strange missing. And he called for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to stop. And he said, I'm not an enemy and I'm not here to fight you, but write for me something. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abu Bakr as-Siddiq to write for him. Now, up to that he reached a point where he could see them, and he tripped. That's authentic. What happened after that, there is no authentication about this. This is being told in the books of seerah, of history. I don't know about the authenticity of this. And of what they said, of those stories, of what they said, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam promised him the bracelets of Kisra. The bracelets of Kisra. Okay, that's what they said. And by the way, many of those stories are made up. Okay? طيب, Ibn Kathir in Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya said, when they took over the Persia and they took over Al-Madain and all of the Roman army, Persian army ran away, Sa'd ibn Abu Waqqas took the treasure and the carpet and everything, cut it, chop it into pieces, load it into camels, and send it to Umar. And of what he sent, the throne of Kisra himself, and his silver and bracelets, and right, the whole treasure of Kisra was sent to Medina. Was sent to Medina, to Umar ibn Khattab. So Umar ibn Khattab ordered them to reassemble the carpet. That carpet, they said, it was drawn there, the whole empire was drawn in that carpet. And when he would have the meeting with his rulers, what he would do, he'll make every one of them to stand at the part in the map, like a map in the carpet, right? So he would have his meetings and congress like that, right? So he told them to reassemble that, and he said, put the throne. They put the throne of Kisra, and he said, I want someone who looked close like Kisra. They said Kisra was huge man, chubby and huge. They said Suraqa ibn Malik. Now this is where I doubted the story, right? If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam promised him, why Umar is looking for someone else? He should grant that for Suraqa straight. Take it in Suraqa. مش كده؟ So why Umar was looking for someone to look like Kisra? So anyhow, they said Suraqa. Suraqa came, and Umar made him to dress like Kisra, gave him the dresses of Kisra, and made him to wear the bracelets and the ornament and everything, and sit like a king. And Umar radiallahu anhu was looking and said, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. He was looking. Someone with all of this, then Allah would humiliate him, kill him by the hand of his own family, and then demolish this huge Persian, the Romans, the empire, let alone for the Arabs. They would be shaken when the name of Kisra is mentioned. They were so tough, the Persians. The Romans used to be scared, very scared of them. When they defeated them by a plot. They went cunning, and they deceived them. غشوهم وقدروا يغلبوهم. بس قتال, fighting sword to sword, they couldn't defeat them. They went cunning, and they made some blood, and it's a long story. Anyhow, so he was subhanallah. So here he asking, was that the first promise Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made? Allah knows. Allah knows about the authenticity of this story. مشايخ السنة التي يجب اتباعهم الشيخ سو وعلى دعوة، فما رأيكم؟ أنا ما أعرف هذا الشيخ، ورجاء مرة أخرى لا تذكر أسماء. رجاء مرة أخرى, whoever is that, do not mention names, please. Do not mention names. I don't like this, and I don't follow names. I follow the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I follow the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't follow names, right? Especially those who are living, those who are alive. The companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, اقتدوا بمن قد مات فإن الحي لا تؤمن عليه فتنة. If you are following the one who died, meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the living person is not safe and secure from fitna. He can be taken by fitna anytime, right? I don't praise individuals. I don't follow them. I follow those who follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you have a sunnah, say the sunnah. If you are warning from bid'ah, warn from a bid'ah. But mentioning names, please, we don't do that. So stop doing this. Another question. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب